Hello and welcome to the Real Life Alexa channel. I'm Alexa. This is Real Life. This week I was reintroduced, and probably best saying I learned about industrial organizational psychology. And I've heard the term in the past. I believe we touched on it during my MBA. Definitely did not stick in my brain to where I would feel comfortable saying what it was. And at a conference I attended this week, there was a session talking about how this idea of caring about your workforce and developing a culture around that really aligns well with IO psychology. So I decided to dig in just a little bit. I'm going to rewatch the recording of the session so that there was a lot of content in it. And I think that I almost didn't go to the session because I didn't have a pre-knowledge of the topic, an understanding of the topic. And I sort of stopped myself and said, you don't understand this one. This is the one you need to go to the most, because you'll actually learn something from it. And so I was glad I really did go when I started listening and hearing the content and sort of relating it back to what we do every day in our work, and how even as individuals, we can affect the people around us, and we can help develop a culture that is positive or negative, depending on our contributions, the sum of the whole and the sum of the parts as the whole. So I Googled, as we do, and I did come up. I'm going to talk mostly, I'll drop a link to Verywell Mind, which is what where I found the basis of what I'll talk about today. There were other sites, and just Google, just add different questions in and look around. And at the end of the day, you don't have to become an expert on it, but understanding at least a little bit of things can be, it can help you, and it helps me understand some of the things I might do naturally, and how there is or I might have heard through, for example, through leadership training, that certain things might work or do work. And this actually sort of brings it back down to why it works and how it works. So essentially, industrial organizational psychology is human behavior in the workplace. The industrial side, from what I'm understanding, is the personnel side, the matching people to the right jobs, or making sure that you're giving people the right tools, things like that. The organizational side is around how, let me read this off because then I'll get it right. Organizational structures, social norms, management styles, and role expectations are all factors that can influence how people behave within an organization. So they are essentially, when I'm looking at this and reading it, they're two sides of the same coin. They're coming at it from the opposite directions. So you can, if you hire the right people, right, then they're going to do really well. And if you hire people and you give them the right tools and the right training and the right support, then they're going to do well. So it's really having that match of both of them that's going to help any type of organization. It has a few main branches underneath. So the one that stood out the most to me was ergonomics is a part of IO psychology. And the field of ergonomics involves designing procedures and equipment designed to maximize performance and minimize injury. I think they have designed in there twice. Not sure if that works, but I would never have thought of ergonomics under psychology. But when you're looking at it as a whole of giving people the right tools and the right training and everything to do the job, then I can see it being that if you give someone the right tools and they're not in pain, they're going to perform at a better level. So I have ergonomic track mouses, I have curved keyboards. I've been using them for 20 years. I don't know, longer, give or take a year, maybe. When I don't have this equipment, it does distract me. It does hurt. And so having this from an organizational perspective, if you're giving your employees tools, these are my personal ones that I just showed, but giving people tools that mean they're not going to be frustrated with the technology, whatever that is, the machinery, that it works correctly, it doesn't distract them, they can get on with their job, they can get into flow, and they can perform better. So it started to make sense when I thought about it from that aspect. And I think I kind of fall back on this psychology, everything we do is interconnected. And so, yes, we can break it down into subjects. And in this case, IO psychology is broken down into two and then further broken down within those, industrial or organizational. We could do that with everything. And having a common lexicon and having a common language, lexicon is definitely a word I've been using a lot lately. But essentially, we speak the same words, meaning the same thing. When we have that common understanding of what language we're using and what it means to us, and that's the key thing, is that shared understanding of what it means. When we have that, we can then use those terms to define issues, define solutions, define success of those solutions, when we will change tracks. And so that common language is so important. And everything is interconnected, but by breaking it down, you can then account for the success or failure of specific things, projects, specific, experiments, if you will. You have to isolate what is wrong. Like, I don't know about car engines. I know that mine has a noise right now that really shouldn't have that noise. That's not normal. But you have to isolate where that noise is coming from, right? And so that's almost when you're thinking about human behavior in a workplace and how we can help people get better. And even outside of a workplace, in general, if you're wanting to help people in society, if you can figure out a very specific possible pain point, choke point, something that's going to stop them from being able to do the things they want to do, and you can design a solution for that one specific thing, you can then measure the success of that one thing. Now, a lot of the times in the real world, that's not going to work, because when we address one issue and we do not account for all of the interconnectedness of our lives and everything in them, we can sometimes falsely attribute success to what we've implemented without knowing that this other change over here outside of this area that we were looking at has also been implemented at the same time. And we can also attribute failure to what we did without looking at the underlying external factors as well. So it's almost like you have to isolate a problem, but you then also have to look at everything within the whole as well. So I thought this was fascinating that this lecture was given by an IO psychologist who teaches and was really, I'm going to have to watch it again, and I will watch it again because I want to make sure that what my brain took from it the first time, I know there was a lot that I missed because there was a lot of information. And so listen, if we can do, oops, hope that didn't make a noise for you guys. I just hit the microphone stand. I talk with my hands a lot. Oops. If we can design things to make our society as a whole happier, to make each other happier, to make each other's lives better, why would we not? Right? Like, isn't that the whole goal of becoming a more industrialized nation, is to make life easier for everyone, not just a select few, not just people in one area? Like, we have enough resources at this point to lift everyone up from it, not necessarily to the highest levels for everyone, but we could lift everyone out of hunger, right? Like, we should be able to. So, excuse me. When you look at it on a microcosm, in your, maybe just your family, in your immediate, the people 5 to 6, maybe 10 people you're closest with and interact with on a daily basis. When you look at it on sort of a medium scale, maybe a large business or a few interconnected businesses, your local, you don't have to look at if you live in a massive city, maybe just the local businesses where you live and frequent and the people you interact with. If you live in like a town, the whole town would be, we can look at it at, just a large business, 500, 1,000, 2,000 employees, 20,000 global employees, right? We can look at it at sectors. I've worked in a few different sectors and they're all very different. But just thinking about some sectors, we have, and I haven't worked in all of these, but technology sector, banking sector, energy sector. When you look at however you want to look at it, if we can help lift everyone up and everything gets easier for everyone gets the benefit of that. And I think we do what we do and can accomplish what I hope we want to accomplish by helping each other and recognizing that with these technology advances that we have, it's not taking from one and giving to another. We can lift everyone up at the same time. So this was my crash course intro to industrial and organizational psychology. I will drop the link in the description to the one site that I did look at the most. Or I found it the easiest to read. I found a few others and it was sort of picking through them was a little bit tedious. I'm a good reader, but if we can break it down to simplest terms, more people will understand what we're talking about. And I appreciate it when I don't have to put a lot of thought into looking up the words that people are using to make sure that I am understanding them. So this side, I'll leave this link in the description. Industrial organizational psychology, and I'll probably learn more about it over the coming weeks and months because it's caught my attention. So that's about it. If you made it this far, thank you. Drop a like, subscribe, leave me a comment, share the video if you learned something. And as always, and my sincere hope is that you can be kind to yourself and be kind to others. It's how we get through this.